LA Aviators playing against the San Diego Growlers in San Diego tonight, AUDL.TV. This is how you should prepare to watch the game. Grilling up some weenies and sausages because Aviators are gonna dominate. Let's talk about the most popular sport in the world, football, or soccer here in the US. It's not really my favorite sport in the world, but it can be fun to watch from time to time. The thing I think needs to be changed is the rule of the clock. Soccer is broken down between two 45-minute halves for a total time of 90 minutes and 15 minutes between the halves. It's up to the refs to determine how long you need to add at the end of the halves because of stoppages of play, but the clock runs the entire time of the game. This is annoying because you're seeing, hey, we're getting up to that 90-minute period, the game's going to be over, but no. How long is the game going to be? Is it going to be an hour and a half, 5 hours? I don't know. Who does? The refs know. I think this is something that can be changed. You have a designated timekeeper. They have the assistant that helps adjust the time clock and figure out how much time needs to be added on. This is something that should be changed where you have somebody that does the stoppages after points are scored or during timeouts, or if there is a stoppage of play, somebody automatically handles that. You ever wonder why you're getting tired drinking a cup of coffee? Don't put sugar in it. The sugar and caffeine will counteract each other. It's something it took me years to figure out why I was getting tired after drinking coffee. If you want to have a better chance of being energized by coffee, try taking coffee naps. What is a coffee nap? When you drink coffee, then you take a 20 to 30 minute nap and you're going to wake up with a buttload of energy. So why do you get tired during the course of the day? You have adenosine in your body and it builds up in the receptors of your brain. Adenosine is what makes you tired over the course of a day. When you take a nap, that adenosine clears out and you can function a little bit better, but quickly starts filling back in. With the coffee nap, the caffeine will fill in those receptors instead of the adenosine, and then when you wake up, that adenosine can't get into the receptors, so you get the best benefits of caffeine and the nap combined. It takes the perfect amount of time for that caffeine to start functioning in your body. If you need some energy boost during the day, especially at that 3:30 p.m. slump, try doing a coffee nap. Did The Simpsons predict the Titanic sub issue that we're having today? Back in 2006, The Simpsons had an episode where Homer got stuck in a sub in the ocean and his oxygen was depleting. On August 5th, 2005, the AS-28 from Russia was tangled in fishing line and sinking to the bottom of the ocean, and their oxygen levels were depleting. This happened the year prior to the release of that Simpsons episode. So did The Simpsons actually predict events from 17 years in the future? No, they didn't. And have they actually ever predicted anything? No, I would say not. Everything is coincidental. For example, people thought The Simpsons predicted the 2009 video of OK Go's group running on the treadmills. Well, in fact, that video was actually released several years earlier, back in 2006. If you're looking to get an action camera, the GoPro Hero 7 Black might be the one for you. It comes sealed to be water resistant straight from the box, so you don't have to buy one of these, but I would recommend it if you're going to the beach to keep the sand out of all the little nooks and crannies. The battery is removable, along with the SD card, which you can fit up to 512 gigs of storage space in there, so you have plenty of room for all your video. Touchscreen on the back, so it's nice and easy to go through the menu. 12 megapixel sensor, along with a display on the front that'll tell you what you're doing as far as photo, video, or settings. 4K up to 60 frames a second, 2.7K or 1440 at up to 120 frames a second, or 1080 up to 240 frames per second. Hyper smooth means your shots will be hyper stable, and my favorite feature, you can remove this panel and you have a built-in HDMI out, so you don't have to buy an accessory to plug into HDMI. This is my favorite GoPro. GoPro Hero 7 Black is cheap on eBay but expensive on Amazon, more so than the new models. Welch's Fruit Snack should be a staple of your ultimate pickup game experience. They're simple packs. You can get a box of 90 at Costco for pretty cheap, and these guys come packed with fruit snacks. I mean, watch this. Open it up, and see, plenty of fruit snacks. I've had this one for over a year, and I know that this is not fully loaded. This has hardly any in it. I mean, watch this, just so you can see. Two. There's only 2. I love these, but this one only had 2 in the pouch. We're gonna go fast, and we're gonna do that drifting, all right? Let's do this. Let me show you how a little piece of audio equipment is going to save me some money temporarily. I came to my car this morning and this happened. Tried to shift it and it wouldn't go. I've checked all my fuses, they're fine, so I think that it's the shifter, because if you push this down, it will allow you to shift. Down, push it, you can shift. So you put this headphone jack to 1/4 inch. It's going to rest on this and force this down so I can shift. Secured with some duct tape. Just note, this little light is a pain to get back in. And now with it in, boom. Put your shifter on after you put your sound console back together, and don't forget to screw it in. It's very important. And with the front part on, you can shift to your content without using the brake. Just don't forget the screwdriver. I love soda. I've loved soda since I was a kid. And Pepsi and Coke, I've never figured out which one I like more. I also like stuff that's nitro brewed and nitro infused, like the nitro brew from Starbucks. I saw an Instagram story recently about something that I just bought and I'm going to try. Now this isn't just any Pepsi product, it's Pepsi Nitro, infused with nitrogen. Let's see if it's as smooth as they claim. This might be my new favorite soda. Oh, smaller bubbles, smoother taste. They're not lying. This, wow. I've never had a Pepsi as smooth as this. It's not flat. It's interesting. It's like having a regular soda without all the extra little bubbles. I'd encourage you to go out, try one, and get your own opinion on this. It's not one to pass up. Do you want to see the simplest prank in the world? I get home one night, I'm walking up to the front door, look down on the ground, and I see this. It's a rock on the ground that says, "Turn me over." And when you pick it up and read the back, you just obeyed a rock. I have to thank my son for that. That is hilarious. I walked up not expecting it. He's like, "You fell for the rock?" I said, "Yeah, I fell for the rock." So we're leaving this on our walkway to our house from now on. At least I'm going to do that. The 8 remaining teams in the American Ultimate Disc League are gunning for the 4 spots in championship weekends, which happens in 2 weeks. Today is the 4 divisional championship games, and I'm going to list those games out from the least upsetting to what would be the most upsetting win. First off, Austin has a good shot against Atlanta. They only lost to them by 4 points in their 1 meeting of the season. Next up, if Indianapolis was to beat Minnesota, Minnesota beat Indianapolis in both games of their season with a total of 7 points differential between them. The second most upsetting game would be if DC was to defeat New York. New York is undefeated and they beat DC both times with a total of 4-point differential. And the biggest upset this weekend would be if LA was to defeat the Salt Lake Shred. Salt Lake beat LA twice this season with a point differential of 14, and they would actually be undefeated if they didn't lose to New York. I saw people doing this with Siri, so we're going to use it with Bixby. Hey Bixby, Lumos. It works! It works! It works! You know what my team problem was? I didn't wear the white jersey while watching the away game. That's why we lost. That's exactly why we lost. I came across this photo of a Doritos bag, and it got me thinking, what's the difference between a Chargers fan, which I am, and a Cowboys fan? You see, the Cowboys fan always thinks that this year is their year, and as everybody else knows, no, it's not your year. As every other team knows, yeah, the Cowboys aren't going to make it to the Super Bowl. As a Chargers fan, we are just happy with whatever wins we get. We pray if we don't make it to the postseason, we suck. That way we get a better draft pick. But as all Chargers fans know, Super Bowl, very hopeful, but if we make it into the playoffs, we're going to choke. I don't know about you, but my wife doesn't watch hockey. She doesn't play hockey. She's not into hockey, but somehow she's ended up with not one, but 2 Stanley Cups. If you ever want to know your wife's opinion about you, just put a frisbee on your head and say, does this make my head look flat? Does this make me a flat head? No. Maybe an airhead? Oh. And of course, right at the end of filming that, my kid threw this at my legs. It was a really close call, to be honest. Here's a pro party tip. I think my wife and I both agree that if our neighbors have a loud party, we'll just plan our party at the same time.
On a Monday night.
Party hack. Controversies and Disney's wokeness is probably going to kill their Snow White franchise. The 2024 version of Disney's Snow White is surrounded with controversies in terms of casting decision for Snow White, the 7 dwarves, which only one of them is a dwarf, and one of them is going to be female when historically they've all been male. And the plot. They're moving the plot away from the damsel in distress princess getting saved by a prince to a more nitty-gritty modern feminist version where the princess doesn't need a prince and she's going to become the leader she knows that she can be. We already got a nitty-gritty reboot from Universal Pictures in 2012, Snow White and the Huntsman, where she actually became the leader she knew that she could be. Now, if Disney wanted to make a real new IP, they should look at Joan of Arc and use the same plot or storyline they're thinking about. Joan of Arc was an amazing female leader who broke free of gender stereotypes. But Disney won't use this idea because they'll probably get burned at the stake. How much money are you spending and therefore wasting on takeout food? Before I got married, I was eating out about twice a day, every day of the week. Every once in a while, a third time, but we'll just say twice a day on average. And for that, I was spending anywhere from about $10, $15 per meal, maybe a little bit more every once in a while, maybe a little bit less. So we'll average it to maybe about $25 a day. If you calculate that out, that's an average of about $175 for a 7-day period. That would make an average of around $750 per month, or around $9,100 per year. Now, preparing food at home, bringing your own sack lunch to the office could cut that number down significantly. So if you try to do that, eat out a lot less, what would you do with all the extra money you would save? I couldn't help but to think in my video about Pepsi Nitro that I said it was not flat, but it still tastes good. So I'm just wondering, and I keep thinking, did Pepsi just figure out a way to market flat soda? So here's my second one. When you do that, it lets out a ton of bubbles. I'm taking a big swig. Carbonation is a huge part of soda. And yeah, I think Pepsi just figured out a way to market flat soda. It still tastes okay, but this being my second one, it's not my cup of tea. Good job, Pepsi, for marketing a flat soda. If you're a parent of toddlers, any kids that use a high chair, come here and listen up. This is a life hack that my wife just came up with. You're gonna love this. get your high chair and don't put the whole, cloth cover on, whatever. This is so easy to clean. This is just the plastic and the seat belt. I think my wife did an amazing job with this. Our kid is like just over a year and a half, and I don't know why we didn't think about this sooner. It's so easy to clean. Lag and glitching on video games can be hilarious to downright frustrating, where you want to break your keyboard over somebody's head. But social media creators get this constantly wrong when they're posting videos on YouTube or Instagram about lag. Most of the time what they're actually posting is glitching. There is a huge difference between lags and glitches. Let's get into it. Lag happens when you're going in a certain direction, the frame rate drops, the computer's not processing stuff fast enough, so the next thing you know, you're walking into the wall, or the person was coming towards you and they just jump past you. Usually you're not going through a wall on a lag. Actually, you're not going through a wall on a lag. Glitching, on the other hand, is when you're going to be upside down, you're going to be going through walls, you're going to have whatever's in front of you be flipped upside down, or you're going to be upside down, or stuff disappears randomly. That is a glitch, not lag. The EU, wanting to standardize charging devices for phones and limit e-waste, has forced Apple's hands on adopting USB Type-C into their smartphones. And as cool as this could be, and as ingenious as it is, USB Type-C has been around for years on smartphones like my 2018 Galaxy Note 8. See, there's the USB Type-C port. And though the first phone that used USB Type-C came out in 2015, USB-C is actually just a smaller form of USB 3, which came out in 2008. Now the iPhone 15 Pro is going to be the only model that gets the USB 3 speeds. Every other model is going to get USB 2 speeds. USB 2 came out in the year 2000, and it's like a tenth of the speed of USB 3. So though now you can use USB Type-C connectors on iPhones, it's really a loss for consumers unless all iPhone models gets it. Well, your laptop's all ready to go, mister. And you have pretty nasty virus on there. Ransomware is cleared out. You're all set to go. You shouldn't have any more issues. Thanks. I appreciate it. It's good to have a clean computer again. How much do I owe you? You're welcome. Your total comes out to $95. All right, well, here's 100. Awesome, but I don't actually have change for 100. Can you head over to the counter and get me some change, please? Okay, let me go get some change. 1 moment later. Here you go, 5 20s. Thanks, but I don't think you understand. Your bill was $95, and you had a $100 bill, and we didn't have change. We still don't have change for you. This is a hard disk drive. It runs slow. It's got a platter in it, and if you drop it, you can break it pretty easily. This is a solid state drive, or SSD. This has no moving parts in it, is very stable for laptops and all that, and the best of all thing is, it's less likely to break if you drop it by accident. Today we're taking a look at this 2004 to 2006 Apple iMac. It's the last one with the G5 processor, and they can run macOS 9 if you so desire. 1, 2, 3 screw holes on the bottom. You can pop it open. The easiest iMac to open up, in my opinion. This system was maxed out with 2 gigs of RAM. It has an optical disk drive, removable SATA hard drive. The G5 processor ran 1.8 gigahertz, and it did have an NVIDIA chipset for the graphics card. Now, well, this was considered a powerhouse back in the day. The 1.8 gigahertz G5 processor was actually slower than the stuff Intel was offering at the time, with over 2.6 gigahertz processors. But even though the processors were slower, you were running the Mac operating system, which runs lighter, considerably lighter than the Windows-based operating system. I'm going to show you the 4 things I use every single day that greatly improve my quality of life, and they can for you too. All right, you ready for this? 1, it should come no surprise, the bed. Get a good night's rest
and you'll be set for the day. Even if you're sick, a good night's rest will do you amazing wonders. 2, obviously, clothes. The clothes that you're in, you gotta cover yourself, be presentable when you go out, even if you're not shaving every day or you have long hair. Very important. 3, taking a shower, being clean. It's important not to be smelly, and other people will appreciate it too. And number 4, you guessed it, the toilet. Also, don't forget to brush your teeth because people don't want to smell your nasty breath. If you go to a computer repair shop, these are the 4 things they absolutely need to have for you to get your computer work done and for you to trust them. If they do not have these 4 things, get out of there, go to a different computer repair place. All right, are you ready for this? Number 1, a monitor. Number 2, power cables. Number 3, keyboards and mice. And number 4, a computer. Come on, people. Bonus, they're a good shop if they actually pull your computer apart and work on it. I come home, I turn on the TV, and I see this.
I know it's VeggieTales, and VeggieTales is cool and all, but today is almost Halloween, and Halloween is a month before Thanksgiving.
So why are we doing Christmas stuff before Thanksgiving? Give the turkey a chance. Just think about my last post. That's about stuff that you don't need to bring into a computer repair shop. If you're looking for a cheap keyboard, mouse, power cable for your computer, find a computer repair shop that is not a retail shop. They mainly do computer repair. We all should have dozens, if not hundreds, of keyboards, mice, and power cables that we don't need, because we get them in for refurbished systems or for new systems that we sell, and we just have tons of them. So if you're looking for a cheap one, there's no better place than a computer repair shop that doesn't deal with retail sales. Should I bring this into a computer repair shop? Well, unless it's causing a problem, here's the answer. Your standard power cable, this is what they look like. No, we don't need them. If it's not a standard power cable, bring it in. Otherwise, your standard power cable that looks like this, leave it at home. Your wireless or wired keyboard and mouse, again, computer repair shops have a lot of these, so unless they're causing a problem, leave them at home. Your monitor or display cables, or even the power cable for your monitor, same thing. If it's not a problem, if it's not causing a problem, leave it at home. But if you do have a problem with it, make sure you bring in your display cables and the power cable for your monitor. And finally, your AC adapter. Yes, bring in your AC adapter for your laptop, for your desktop, for your monitor. If you have a monitor, it comes problem, laptop, desktop, all-in-one computer that uses a AC adapter, please bring it in. So get this, the Airheads mystery flavor, you're not just supposed to open up this and eat it and it tastes like nothing. You're supposed to take it one end and whip it back and forth, and it compacts it into a little cube, and that's what activates the flavor. I mean, it'll make the other flavors more rich, but apparently that's what you do. You come down, you have the cube, and that's what's supposed to make it taste like something else. Think about what flavor this is. I still don't know what the flavor is, but it tastes better than just having it by opening it up. You should try it. Thought experiment. Mr. Beast, most popular man on YouTube, arguably, comes up to you anywhere. Walmart, in the park, in the parking lot. He offers you one of two options. First option, $100,000. Could be $200,000, could be $250,000, something very conservative, not a huge amount of money. He just doesn't care about money. 2, he offers you 1 million YouTube subscribers that are guaranteed subscribers, and you can build your channel off of it. What are you picking and why? And no, you cannot split it on doing half and half.
What's really important for parents to do after Halloween, my family and I just got back from trick-or-treating. We got, toned down, plenty of candy between our 2 youngest,
And what's really important as parents is twofold. Checking candy is twofold. One, you want to make sure there's nothing unsafe in the candy. And two, if your kids have dietary restrictions, you want to check the ingredients on all of the candy that you get in, just in case your kids can't have it. So it's just a suggestion. Check for unsafe stuff first, open candy, and second, anything that your kids can't have for dietary reasons, like if they're allergic to gluten, dairy, peanut allergies, whatever it is. What's the craziest thing you've seen in a computer repair shop? One thing we like to do is stick our CDs on the wall for quick access. Even though we don't really use the CDs anymore, we stick our flash drives with the CDs so we know what we're installing. But that's not my favorite part of my shop. My favorite part of my shop is something I set up many years ago. A fully functioning, working computer on the wall. We use it for testing, we use it for diagnostics, and we use it for cloning computers to new computers and for data recovery. Give it a second to come up. There it is. Can you be eaten? Yes, you can, because your name is Bacon, not Baconut. I don't know about you guys, but this guy is sick and tired about doing this twice a year. Figuring out if it's spring forward, fall back, fall forward, spring back. Do I set the clock half an hour ahead, behind, getting my schedule all messed up for the next 2 to 3 weeks of my life, not knowing, exactly what time of day it is? That's why I propose every single time we have the time change, just set your clock half an hour in between. Can't we do that? You get the best of both worlds. Sure, in the summer, the sun does go down half an hour early, but in the winter, it stays up half an hour later. And the same thing in the morning, it's a half hour difference. So can't we do this? Just make a campaign to put the clock half an hour in between and just, that's it, we're done? Let me know in the comments. Do you like DST, standard time, or would you go for this half an hour in between and just call it good for the rest of your life? I have to show you the most random thing I see inside of laptops, specifically MacBooks. Take a look at this. First off, these dirt pits right here. This was a sealed MacBook. Like, how does this dirt get in here and then make pits here? And secondly, this, like, it's not quarter size, it's bigger than a nickel. This is quarter size, nickel size circle right here. And I look over at this other one and it has something similar. These should be completely flat all the way through without any indents like this. Like the center one right here, there's no indents, no dirt pits, anything like that. It looks really normal. So I just have to ask Apple, what's up with this? Formula One should pay out businesses for their inconvenience during race series. Formula One is an international multi-billion-dollar race series that goes in places like the United States, Italy, Brazil, and other countries around the world. Their owner, billionaire John Carl Malone, doesn't really care about businesses around the circuits, unlike when a TV studio or movie studio shows up to a business or a house and pays the property owner for use of their facilities and property. Formula One shows up, creates a circuit, and then asks businesses to pay out money to be licensed to operate, even with obstructive views. In the Las Vegas, Nevada series here in the United States, they were asking businesses to pay upwards of $1,500 to be licensed during the race series. Formula One has since retracted asking for the fees, but this doesn't excuse the inconvenience that these businesses face, losing anywhere from 20 to 80% of their regular clientele. And this is why you want to see one of the reasons why I don't really like working on HP computers? Take a look at this. They use torque bits on just about every computer, or most of the computers, though they do have a flathead option in here if you want to use it. Apple uses torque head screws on just about all their computers because they don't want you as a customer working on your own system. HP, on the other hand, they just don't really like computer repair techs or you as a customer. That's the reason why they stick it in there. It's annoying. So for the love of everything good, HP, use regular Phillips head screws on your systems for a change, please. Stylish optical mouse, radical, bro. But you know what? You can't have your stylish optical mouse without your business wired keyboard. Radical. Did you know that Apple's Mac doesn't actually stand for Macintosh, as in the Macintosh Apple? It actually stands for Make Anything Complicated. Subscribe for more accurate acronyms.
Android users should be jealous of this new iPhone feature that's going to make it so much easier to share contact information.
Haha, nice one, Apple. Welcome to 2011 when Android introduced Android Beam. It's also called S-Beam on Samsung devices, and now it's called Share Nearby. I remember commercials where Apple and Android were fighting, and Apple was making fun of Android users by having to bump their phones next together. That's essentially what Name Drop is on the iOS platform. You bump your iPhone together on the ends, tip to tip, and you can share stuff like contact information, videos, and much more. So in reality, Apple users should be way jealous of Android users of having this feature for over the last 12 years. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and stay tuned, subscribe for more tech stuff. Happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a fantastic day with friends, family, or both. Speaking about Thanksgiving, it's the 4th Thursday in November, Thanksgiving Thursday. And because of that, I've determined that there's 2 types of Novembers. With this first type, Thanksgiving, few days of November left, and then you get into December. With Thanksgiving over, it feels like Christmas when you get into December right away. But the second type is where we live now. Thanksgiving, and then you have practically a week before December starts, right over here. Personally, I like it when December starts as close as possible after Thanksgiving, within a few days, not a week. But what do you guys think? What way do you prefer? Do you prefer the quick start to December and Christmas, or kind of the slower start to December and Christmas? Let me know in the comments below. Hey bro, this keyboard, it's pretty lit. But this rainbow keyboard, it doesn't stay lit for long. What I find interesting, Merry Christmas by the way, what I find interesting is trimming your tree, your Christmas tree, does not mean getting rid of all the dead branches, all the dead pine needles, all that stuff. This is a fake tree, by the way. We save money every year by having one tree. But what it does mean is putting all your lights, putting all your ornaments, putting all your stuff on the tree. Trimming the tree it's like dusting the shelves. It makes no sense, but it does at the same time. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Fun thing to do is clean dishes with dry ice. Soapy water, dry ice. Witchcraft. That's not witchcraft. That's science.
It won't come off.
You gotta squish it. Pop some more.
Oh wow.
So the other day I made a post about this keyboard. You plug it in and it doesn't stay lit for long. It's a keyboard we got for free with a refurbished system, and I wanted to test it out because suspension, mechanical feel. I really wanted to see how it felt when you're tapping on it. But some of you said it's not rainbow, it's RGB, and there is actually a difference for why that is a rainbow keyboard. RGB stands for red, green, and blue, and it's why our screens gives us all the colors of the rainbow. And it's what people use inside of their computer cases to make them look and feel really cool. But in reality, it doesn't do anything, and you're not going to be paying attention to those colors as you run your computer. Now, this keyboard is actually rainbow, because it should have worked with red on one end, going all the way to blue on the other end, and it actually says Rainbow Backlit Game Keyboard and Mouse Set.
Fun thing to do is clean dishes with dry ice. Soapy water, dry ice.
Witchcraft.
That's not witchcraft. That's science.
Ooh. It won't come off.
You gotta squish it. Pop some more.
Oh, wow.
I work out in my office sometimes using resistance bands, doing stuff like curls, squats, and I'm curious to know what the resistance of these bands actually are. These should be rated at 5, 10, 20, 30, and 40 pounds for somewhere around 100 pounds of resistance. But is that what I actually get? So first thing, I'm gonna weigh myself with nothing. 212. And now I'm gonna pull down these and weigh myself. Simulated squat. It gives me an error 274.6. So I just learned after years of use, these guys lose their elasticity and they're not as effective. But doesn't mean that you can't use them. No, you can still definitely use elastic bands for workouts and resistance. Just don't count on them staying good forever. As a small drone operator, I use my drone for making money, SAUS. Every 2 years, you have to go through recurrency training in order to keep up your certification. The way that's done is you go to faasafety.gov, but I'm actually really stunned. Take a look at this. I am really stunned at the number of free courses you can actually take on top of your Part 107 recurrency training. I mean, take a look at this. Avoiding pilot deviations, briefing IFR procedures, fuel management strategies. So if you're like me and one day you might want to be an actual aircraft pilot, not just a drone operator, this is great. This is amazing. A lot of free material to go over, cover, and get certified. I love flying my drone any chance that I can. It's fun to do, but unfortunately, because the president is in town, I can't fly it. Here in Southern California, we have LAX and Santa Monica Airport. There's a 10-mile, definitely 10 nautical mile no-fly zone, and a larger 30 nautical mile no-fly zone around both airports. Now my question is, you can leave your answers in the comments below, why 30 nautical miles instead of say 25 or 35 or even 20? Because that's still a long distance to go. I think it's because that's how long it's going to take to scramble jet fighters for air defense. You know, it might be janky, but it's only crazy if this doesn't work. Terrible fluid head. Holding up a really good fluid head. Holding up a red camera. What do you guys think? Would you do? What I find interesting is video games that use real world stuff to affect the gameplay. For example, Pokemon Go. If you haven't loaded it up, load it up. And right now in Southern California, it is currently raining and storming. And we need that wet weather here in Southern California. Now if you load up Pokemon Go, and you can see it's actually raining in the game, just like it's raining outside. Not just picking up the GPS data, but picking up the weather, the localized weather data. Now this doesn't just affect the seasons in the game, but it actually affects the Pokemon that come out. Like there's more water type, more ice type Pokemon, and overall, a more immersive gameplay experience. Opinion of a Californian in Arizona, filling up at the gas station. I just spent $26 for over half a tank of gas. That almost makes me want to move from California to Arizona. So you know how Windows 10 was supposed to be the last version of Windows ever and it just get updates? Well, I've got news for you. Windows 11 is just Windows 10 with a new graphical interface. Take a look at this. Here's a new computer we're setting up for a client, decent all-in-one. We're going to come over here and see Windows 11 Home. But if I come up here and I click on the close, and I come over here to our product key identifier, Windows 10 Home. So, not exactly a fully new version of Windows. The graphical interface is terrible. Hopefully Windows 12 fixes that. But the nice thing is, if you're upgrading to Windows 11 from Windows 10, you don't need a key. Just the same way as upgrading from Windows 7 to Windows 10 was. This is an Apple IIc. It's just like an Apple IIe, except more compact. We had a customer just gift it to us, and I'm really curious if we can get it up and running. What do you think? Would you like to see if this thing actually still functions?